Hey guys, so is this finally the end of New Jeans? Is it just going out with a whimper instead of a big dramatic exit? Because industry insiders say that all scheduled activities are almost completely done between ADOR, which is really hype, and New Jeans, and nothing new has been scheduled. And there are going to be new auditions for another group over at ADOR. And it looks like Min Hee-jin, New Jeans' mama, can't even take care of herself. New Jeans' mama did not even show up to her mediation session for her ongoing case against her by that pissed off employee who said that Min Hee-jin just publicly dragged her through the mud and covered up her harassment and bullying allegations when she was at ADOR, and they're going to go to court. But more than that, when we're really looking at the situation between New Jeans and Min Hee-jin, it almost feels like there might be a splintering, perhaps even a bit of distancing of Min Hee-jin and the New Jeans girls, because if you've been looking at New Jeans' recent activities, even though those activities were ADOR coordinated, which means they got some backup with ADOR, it felt like it was still missing something. I mean, maybe it's just rehearsal time that they're missing, but at the same time, it didn't have that feeling of a Min Hee-jin stamp on it. And of course, the New Jeans girls, you could argue that rationally, they need to hitch themselves on Min Hee-jin's wagon, support Min Hee-jin, try to make Min Hee-jin happen, even though it's not happening. But on the flip side, Min Hee-jin doesn't exactly need New Jeans, and in the whole life cycle of K-pop anyway, you can pretty much predict that Min Hee-jin would eventually, in the best case scenario, cordially part ways with New Jeans, but in a more Min Hee-jin style, would be trying to get the momentum of New Jeans, start ADOR, and then sort of like sunset out New Jeans as she finds other younger groups to foster in her, had her Jezebel Institute of Treachery plan gone according to plan, then she would have been able to exit with New Jeans, even the company ADOR and all the intact contracts, set up shop somewhere else, basically have had Hybe pay her to steal her own company, their company essentially, and make her own company. But ironically, what happened now is that ADOR is now the company that is the foe against Min Hee-jin and New Jeans, and ADOR being, Min Hee-jin had to consult her shaman so many times. I wonder how much that cost. Was it per message that she charged? Was it a flat fee or whatnot? She went over and over again with her shaman to figure out the name ADOR, and now it's ADOR versus Min Hee-jin, ADOR versus New Jeans. It's so ironic how that worked out, and it almost feels as if maybe Min Hee-jin is done with her fantasy of debuting as a first generation K-pop idol through the New Jeans girls. I mean, she just literally dressed them up as if she were going in a time machine and she's gonna be the sixth member of the group. She even was dressing like them, because when you look at them now, the most recent, some of the look that the New Jeans girls are doing, yes, you can argue that maybe they're evolving out of their old style and or experimenting with different styles or just responding to the stylists, but they don't look like how they used to look, with the whole kind of 90s hip hop kind of, well, we all know where it came from, okay? Like there's a lot of other videos just like documenting all of that. But now it just looks like the New Jeans girls, they're just like lost puppies at the puppy pound. And they can't really go anywhere. If they continue to do their own schedule and say like, oh yeah, we're independent, then they wouldn't be able to use the New Jeans name. And they wouldn't even have any infrastructure. So it doesn't look like that Davolink thing happened. Doesn't look like anybody else is willing to pick up the pieces. And why would you invest a lot of money into New Jeans as their new agency, only to be told later on that you're going to be sued as well by Hybe and ADOR for breach of contract? And even if you win that, you're going to have so much distraction, and it's just going to be always a difficult choice. Every time, you're thinking like, well, should we put them on first class or business class? Should we put them in a nice hotel? Should we, invest in, this great music video, all to know that like your investment would be for naught. Ironic how that works out now. So it looks like New Jeans is flying without a lot of infrastructure. There are reports. So 10 Asia reported on these dissolution of basically any future plans, and they're reporting that there is a skeleton crew with some former managers of New Jeans when they were at ADOR. They followed them over and just are helping, so it's loyalty. But at the same time, are these managers getting properly paid? And when we say manager in the K-pop world, it's not like a talent manager versus like your talent agent. It's more of like an assistant, but much more loyal, working really hard. Although the Hollywood assistants work hard too, but these are not like people who are wheeling and dealing deals. But maybe they, apparently there have been accusations that some of them have been making some sort of contracts or inroads or conversations, at least with advertisers independently. So it is a position to grow from, but it's not as if it's like some huge like executive that is then defecting with New Jeans and then continuing their activities. It's nothing like that at all. It's almost as if like you're having some very talented assistants following New Jeans, and then they're trying to do a skeleton crew. And some of this looks pretty skeleton-y. And apparently, when they went on the day of Jesus Christ's birthday over to CBS, the Christian broadcasting station, and had that big Hello Christmas, it was more of like, okay, let's just be honest. Like, it was more of like a Hello Satan type of broadcast. And on the audacity of it being on a Christian broadcasting station on the Lord's birthday, and it's being confirmed that ADOR was not consulted at all for that interview. So now that makes it seem super sus. That host, that station colluding with Min Hee-jin or her team, at least the team, like the most generous interpretation I can give to it now is that that host is sort of bound to play some sort of game with that world of PR to get good guests. But the way that it does look is that it was a little bit too cooperative with this narrative, because not only did Min Hee-jin go there, there was some other person that they were using to spread another narrative that was pro Min Hee-jin. And so ADOR wasn't even consulted. You know what? Jesus wasn't even consulted. He had to look through the window that day at that atrocity. So New Jeans completed most of their scheduled activities with ADOR, including an awards ceremony in Fukuoka, Japan on January 5th. There are still some advertising related shoots still pending, but other than that, everything has been fulfilled. Again, ADOR and Hybe have said, look, come to the table, come for a meeting, let's plan your future. I mean, they had basically are rolling the red carpet out saying that like, We are willing to let bygones be bygones. Get your advertising, get your songs, get your music videos, get your concerts, like everything that a K-pop idol would dream about. And they were willing to throw all of that away for a room at a Wi-Fi factory with Min Hee-jin, operating the helm of it with her milk carton crate desk. And even that didn't pan out. So what kind of infrastructure are they going to actually be able to piece together on their own dime? And in terms of coordination, this is going to be something where we don't even have to watch the wheels fall off, because it's just so predictable. When you go from such a highly orchestrated, coordinated, funded environment like a Hybe, and then think that you can just do all this stuff like on your own, it really is a moment where the wheat is separated from the chaff, because you then get to really see how much of your glory and greatness is you, and then what you can do independent of any organization, or how much of it was the auto-tune, how much of it was the Photoshop, how much of it was Final Cut Pro making you look so, fantabulous in the music videos. How much of it is the magazine staff and their styling, and a lot of that disappears. And especially in Korea, once you get past a critical point where people smell the blood in the water and their sharks are circling, you'll actually be lucky if you are attacked by the shark. But what most likely happens is that the shark actually just turns away and swims in the other direction and forgets you even ever existed. And so I don't think that these girls are really understanding like what the road ahead of them looks like, because if they just try to be as bold as they say, this is only November 28th is when they just went on that press conference and unilaterally announced like, we're done with Hybe. If they really go forward with that, then they're really committing themselves to a future liability where they're going to end up with absolutely nothing. This is just all the wrong choices. And you can tell where, it's based in ego. They're not really the victims. They are the aggressors. They're the ones that are attacking, and it's just boomeranging back onto them. So as these breach of contract cases accumulate, these penalties that New Jeans will face will increase, and they may be at a point of no return. And just practically right now, you can have a lot of loud words, you can even go to the National Assembly and raise a ruckus, but even those bunny uncles can't help you out of immigration policy, especially in Korea, which is extremely strict on immigration. And so Hanni, who is Vietnamese and Australian, she claims that, my contract is done with ADOR, but then who's going to sponsor your visa? So you're able to finish the January 5th event in Japan, but now what? You're going to be doing the tourist visa, and working illegally? So on a practical level, if nobody else sponsors her visa and she has no other way to work as a member of New Jeans in Korea, then essentially New Jeans won't be able to do anything together as a group. Maybe this is a time where each one of them go off and do solo projects, but that's also breach of contract most likely in the way that their contracts are set up. So this is not a smart situation, way above their heads. And I was reminded of that when Danielle sent a message to the fans, and it was really long. So I don't know, maybe there is coordination with Min Hee-jin, because it definitely had the Min Hee-jin length and the syntax. But it definitely felt like it was her, like, young little kid's language, reflecting upon the years, saying like, oh, because of bunnies, like, I was able to get through with it, which is good, which is good to acknowledge your fans that way. But the language was just so like high school kid dear diary. And it it made me feel like, wow, they're really in a situation where they don't really probably even understand really what is going on. I mean, one of her lines was like, I have more wishes, but some are secret. If they come true, I'll tell you in 2026. I mean, you guys, some of the, the bunnies are saying like, why are you going after kids? But they're not kids, except one is like almost now like not a kid, but they're all adults. They're all older. They're all like in, college age, but then you can kind of see maybe, like not going to school and stuff, the mindset, is still a little bit young. So that's why it's not really about them. This is mainly has been a discussion about the treachery of Min Hee-jin, Nugent's mama. And speaking of which, we saw an opportunity for her to be able to settle things like an adult. Instead of going all the way to court and having it all dragged out, there was a mediation offer on Monday. And Min Hee-jin didn't even show up. She sent her lawyer. And this was in response to the lawsuit against Min Hee-jin. And instead of going to court, there is an option for mediation where it's like, hey, let's work out our differences. Let's create a settlement. And this was offered by the person suing Min Hee-jin. The person suing Min Hee-jin, again, was that former employee that she had that was heavily referenced in all of the text messages that Min Hee-jin released out to the public. And she was the employee was the one who felt that she faced sexual harassment, especially at an after-work dinner situation, where even Min Hee-jin was yelling at that male employee who couldn't recall what happened. And then Min Hee-jin went ballistic. She's saying like, oh my God, now you're like, how am I supposed to defend you? So obviously, there were all these other messages where Min Hee-jin was manipulating and coaching that man on how to write his statement to get out of trouble and get her out of trouble, even though she then went to the media. Min Hee-jin went to the media saying like, I was being fair and impartial and trying to get to the truth, and I yelled at this employee. Well, yeah, it turns out she was yelling at her executive because he was making it harder for her to manipulate and present the image that she wanted. Well, this employee that felt harassed and, launched an investigation that has been reopened by ADOR and Hybe, said that, hey, why don't we just settle? If you can just apologize, come to the table and apologize to me. And this is why I lean on the side of really believing this former employee. She's been called Miss A or Miss B, like, let's just say, Miss AB. Because she is expecting that she's going to be able to bring legal action for an apology. And that to me shows like a very earnest kind of expectations. Yes, a bit naive. Yes, I understand firsthand, but because you can't sue for an apology, even though like a lot of times that's what you want. It's not about the money. You really just want an apology. And some, a lot of times they're willing to throw you money before an apology, or especially if it's other people's money. So Min Hee-jin didn't even show up to this and said that, because we can't agree, the lawyers on Min Hee-jin's behalf said, because we can't agree with what is being said by this former employee 100%, we're not doing any sort of mediation. And then the employee, she's just like on her own Instagram, she's like, fine, see you in court. And this could have been a situation where they settled for much less than maybe this former employee was even willing to accept no money, but the the biggest amount of money that she could be awarded by the judge is 100 million won, so 70 to $100,000 depending on the exchange rate. And so she looks like to be a real victim of workplace bullying, definitely a lot more than the whole trumped up situation that Hanni tried to present to the public and at the National Assembly. Why did not this Miss AB show up to the National Assembly, right? To tell the bunny uncles how horrible it could be at ADOR, right? But obviously that opportunity does not go to employees who say no to cookie time. So party A, said that they were sexually harassed by one of Min Hee-jin's key minions. And she was furious because she said that she was just going along with it, especially after the investigation did not work out in her favor originally. And she was being, dragged through this horrible situation. And so she was just more of like, stiff upper lip, let me move on, got another job, putting this behind. And then she finds out later that her situation is being used by Min Hee-jin to besmirch the other side of, Hybe in this battle that Min Hee-jin was having. So then she just got furious, and that's when, over the summer, she just went after Min Hee-jin. So very, very difficult situation. She tried to move on, with demure and mindfulness, but the snapback has a little bit more salt in it, okay? So ADOR is also, seems like it's moving on and has to, I thought this was a very good move of them. Like, practically, yes. If they want to maintain a schedule and continue to bring income into ADOR, they need to have an artist. Right now, they only have New Jeans, so they need an artist. So they're holding auditions. But this is also a signal saying like, hey, New Jeans, look, we're moving on. You can't do anything else, but we're also moving on. In some ways, like this whole kind of like, we're moving on, like you're not worth it. We're moving on. That's the vibe shift that we're getting. So if you're interested in auditioning for ADOR, it's open to all nationalities, all genders, but you have to be born after 2006. Go to ador.world for more information. What do you need to apply? You need a waist-up photo with a clear shot of your face, a full body shot, and an audition video that is at least 1 minute in duration. And you will be contacted if you are successful to go to the next round within 2 weeks to your email or phone. There is no deadline. It seems like it's just an ongoing rolling audition deadline. So they're probably just, open to any kind of possibilities for creating new groups. And I can't believe they even said this, but it said there under the frequently asked questions, I have never learned to sing or dance. Can I still apply for the audition? And they said, yes, show us any of your talents. So really, this is an opportunity for a training ground. And this is also why I can't believe that we're seeing such entitled behavior from the New Jeans girls, because a lot of these Korean management companies, yes, they get you into long-term contracts, and then probably the contract terms are not always fair, and then they kind of load you up with a lot of expenses that then you have to pay off. But at the same time, it's almost unheard of. If somebody wanted to say, I can't sing or dance, or I've never learned to sing or dance, can I still apply to be a global singer and dancer under your label and basically have you train me and get me up to speed? That's almost impossible in any other business model. But in K-pop, it's part of the thing, because if you got something like that X factor, they're willing to work with it and then, bring the skills up in you, especially since, you know, you're young enough to be trained and molded. And so, hey, at this point, if there were like a Min Hee-jin style media play against the New Jeans girls, it would essentially be like, now this is when you bring out some of the former K-pop idol members of any generation, any group, but it has a gripe and basically says, you know, and doesn't really care. Maybe they're out of the industry now. They're just like, look, my contract was this, and this, and I had to suffer this, and this. I would have loved to have gotten any, like a tenth of what New Jeans got right out of the gate, and then basically paint them as just like very spoiled and entitled and have no idea what the history of K-pop was and all of the trailblazers who went before them so that they could have all of these opportunities, and how they are just acting so immature. So I think a lot of people are just looking at it in that situation now and almost like kind of like not really caring, because there's no new songs anymore. It's the same old how sweet it, you know, like it's the same old stuff, and it doesn't look like they're spending that much time in the practice room to even innovate on stuff that they've already done, and there's no new music videos. It's just a bunch of advertising campaigns where they're trying to sell you something that you're probably not really in the market to buy. So, you know, what more is there? On the other hand, never say never with this New Jeans mama. All right, guys, what do you think? Put your comments below. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.